We tend to think that being well educated has to do with having higher education. We often associate education with having higher degrees, but it encompasses much more. In this video, I will reveal 10 signs that will indicate that you are well educated and refined. Welcome back to my new video and on my YouTube channel, Irina Sergeeva Official. Actually, being a person who is well educated has to do with so many things than just go to school and get good grades. In today's video, I'm gonna give you those 10 things that tell you you are well educated. First things first, this video is not about pretending we are well educated when in reality we are not and we just putting on a show. No. This video made as a guidance to understand what things you should do in life to enrich yourself and become a better version of yourself. And this leads me to the point number 1, because first point is about pretending that you are a well-educated person, but in reality you are not. We are talking about genuine knowledge, not pretending. Some individuals showing that they are well educated using some fancy language, or they are discussing topics that they don't truly understand. They are trying too hard to appear smart, usually indicate overcompensation and lacks authenticity. And I think we all met all these types of people who loves to show how intelligent and smart they are. They discuss specific topics just to show off their whatever intelligence, or when they use specific words or fancy language that deep down you probably understand that. They probably don't know half of what they are saying or what it actually means. The point is, when you are trying too hard to be something, usually you are overcompensating for something you are really not. So if you are there trying to show all the world that you are so smart and so intelligent, most likely everyone will see through that you are not. Point number 2, what gives away education in someone is when they have variety of life. So we are talking about embracing variety in life. Education comes from experiencing a variety of life, not sticking to the same routine. Life experiences and diverse activities gives depth and substance to a person. Being the best student academically is not enough. True education comes from exploring different places and aspects of life, and all of these things is part of well-educated person. If you don't have life experience, are you really that educated? For this reason, ladies, I do recommend trying new things in life, because that enrich your life experience. Don't be that person who stops in personal growth by just doing the same old thing year in and year out. Point number 3, we are going to continue talking about variety because that one actually deserves its own point. We are talking about traveling and experiencing different cultures. Well-traveled individuals are often well-educated. Exposing yourself to different countries and cultures, and especially ways of life, broadens your understanding and knowledge. It is not about the number of countries that you have visited, but the openness to learning and understanding different people and places. Let's say you have visited a few countries, but if every place there has always been different, that means you are seeking out education of learning and understanding different types of people and countries as well. Now compare it to some kind of rich kids born into a very wealthy families, but all they see is every time the same. Sandbar for winter, Aspen for ski, Saint-Tropez in summer, and maybe one odd city break in between. Is that person truly well educated? Or is a person educated when they have really experienced the world? Point number 4. I think we all know that being well-read definitely equals being educated. So we are talking about reading broadly and pursuing passion. Being well-read is a significant indicator of being educated. While classics are valuable, reading subjects you are genuinely interested in is equally important. Don't limit yourself to social expectations. Explore your passions like art, history, or fashion. But the truth is that even though, yes, you should read classics, but what about also the thing that you are truly interested in? I think there is always the list of yes. Yes, to be smart, you have to read all these titles, but I don't think that it is important to have again variety in the things that you read, but also read the things you are truly passionate about and you are truly interested in. Maybe your biggest passion is gardening or filming or modeling. Why not just go all in those topics that you are really like? Because that is gonna motivate one to also read more than always having to feel the pressure that if you have to have done this or done that. But one thing is for sure, whether you are reading a traditional book or let's say you are tuning into audiobook, it is important to keep feeding your brain with new information, in particular information that makes sense for you. This way you keep enriching yourself, your mind, you are getting a new creative ideas or new ideas in general, and it is so important for your own development. But to have things to talk to people about in your social life. Otherwise, you stay the same and it's not fun, it's not elegant, it's not intelligent, and you will not look like a well-educated person. Point number 5. Well-educated person sure has some form of hobbies or activities or interests going on for themselves. I'm sure you have met people where you find that, okay, you are trying to have some conversation with them, you are not really sure to talk to them about because they don't seem to be doing much in their life. And it is okay. Not everyone has to be overachiever or overperformer and always be doing loads of things. So we are talking about cultivating hobbies and interests in point number 5. Well-educated individuals engage in activities or hobbies they are passionate about. It is not necessarily to be involved in numerous things, but having at least one interest enrich your life and gives you depth as a person. There is always a charm with the people who are a little bit more laid back too, but then it comes with a limit when people are so laid back. They literally fill their lives with absolutely nothing. Well, besides the watching of Netflix and chill, eating and going to work. I don't think that everyone should have at least 5, 6, 7 activities going on for themselves, but at least having one thing that you are passionate about or interested in will definitely make you a well-educated person. Again, you are going to have more things to talk about with people but it is so incredibly healthy for your mind, for your soul, when you are doing, you have the true desire for. Point number 6, attending cultural events. Participation in cultural events should be driven by genuine interest, not just for appearances. Discover the cultural activities that inspire and captivate you. Consistency in attending such events fosters creativity, inspiration, and personal growth. If you don't know, maybe you just start trying out a little bit of everything and discover what you are truly like. Me personally, I love a nice fashion show, a good ballet, or maybe making a fashion photo shoot or visiting some fashion show, runway show. Every time I do such activities, I always live with so much creativity, new ideas. I just find it as a great source of inspiration. But the point is, you should not just be doing these activities like once in a blue moon. The point is to be consistent and doing it regularly. Let's say you have one day a month when you dedicate that day going to art galleries or fashion show or runway show or I don't know what you like, or going to the theater. When you are inspired, you grow as a person. Let's jump into point number 7. This one needs a little story. I grew up in Siberia, in a suburb, visiting a regular public school where education was not really on a high level. So when it was time for me to enter a high school, my mother decided that I really need to get the best possible education, kind of fancy type of high school. I was able to get in as I had good grades, but once my semester started, I realized that education there was completely different than that low-level public school that I used to visit in my childhood. What was interesting at this high-end school that now I went, that they were teaching me analytical thinking. And that is actually something that I quickly realized, that in my previous schools there was no pressure of having your own analytical thinking, going for yourself. But here they were teaching it to me in a way. They were encouraging you to use your mind. They always practice analytical thinking. In point number 7, we are talking about developing analytical thinking. Analytical thinking is a hallmark of a well-educated person. It involves questioning, drawing conclusions, and critically analyzing information. This skill broadens your perspective and helps you understand things beyond surface level observations. Educated person always tries to analyze answers in their own mind and draw conclusions. And that is something the high school taught me. So they taught me how to question things, how to draw conclusions, how to ask right questions in the right situation, how to draw the right summaries, how to develop a mind when you actually think for yourself and end up thinking for yourself, end up having a broader approach in life. You are always able to apply objective critical thinking, but also being able to really understand and see past certain things that people usually don't pay attention to. It is about really knowing how you think, how you use your mind, and how to digest information. Well-educated people know exactly how to analyze. So in point number 8, we are talking about curiosity and seeking knowledge. Instead of saying, I don't know, strive to find answers, be curious, and actively seek knowledge. Embrace a curious mind and expand your horizons by constantly learning. And I would personally avoid saying I don't know too many times. Instead, again, try thinking for yourself and say something instead than I just don't know. Because it is easy to be just like, oh, I don't know, and you never use your head, you never activate your brain. But if you don't know something, you have to apply curious mind. You have to become a little Miss Google, go and find things that you don't know. You might wonder, what is the answer to that? That should be a part of your repertoire as someone who is well educated. You always seek out the answers. You don't just settle for, I don't know. Let's say, for example, if you are in a situation when you are truly don't know the topic that people are talking about, so just then try listening carefully instead and learn things that others have to say. I think learning and expanding your horizons is so important and really does signal that someone is well educated. So point number 9 is about attending conferences and seminars. Now let's talk about investing in your education. Many people think that once they finish university or college, they no longer need to educate themselves further. Maybe they will read a self-help book once in a blue moon, but that's about it. However, I personally believe that you should always keep educating yourself, regardless of the topic. Whether it is for personal or business reasons, it doesn't really matter. It is about always growing as a person. It's about always investing in knowledge. I'm incredibly passionate about investing in yourself because you always get a return on your investments. That's why when I created my YouTube channel, Elite Woman Secrets, I wanted women to develop themselves so they could get more benefits in life. There are so many things we can achieve, but we often don't tap into those things because we lack the education that can take us to that level. And that is exactly what my YouTube channel, Elite Woman Secrets, is all about. If you want to learn more about the 6 words that elevate your speech, simply go to elitewomansecrets.com and get your free cheat sheet. I teach women the most essential things you need to know if you want to level up as a woman especially if you want to position yourself as a high-value woman. One of the key aspects of being an educated person is having a correct table manners. So again, please go to elitewomansecrets.com and download the free cheat sheet about 6 words that will elevate your speech and make you a well-educated person. Point number 10, having correct table manners. And that is also what we are going to discuss in details in my next videos. And there are so many misconceptions about dining etiquette. There is a reason why it is so confusing and why there is so many different rules out there. People who are born in rich, wealthy families, usually they are taught these things at home. Not all rich families, by the way. I have seen some bad table manners, even from wealthy people. But if you are a regular person, you really need to invest in your education when it comes to table manners, as it is a big giveaway. Being well educated extends beyond academic achievements. It involves genuine knowledge, diverse experiences, intellectual curiosity, and thirst for learning. Embrace this science of education to become a better version of yourself, enrich your life. That is, now you know these 10 things that will make you a well-educated person. In this reason, I invite you to my next video, why rich handsome men end up choosing more plain, simple looking women. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video. Bye!